the world of fantasy, romance, sci-fi, adventure, and more. It's time for the Author Hour, your guide to fantastic fiction, hosted by Matthew Peterson. It's a weekly visit with the masters of fiction as we meet with the top authors of today. Now, here's Matthew Peterson.
It did not come easily. I tried so many different ideas that didn't work. I wanted to do a time travel series, but I didn't know how to get my kids back in time. And I tried a magic cellar, magic whistles, a magic artist museum, and a magic studio for the arts. I tried so many different ideas, and I was really going to quit. It sounds fake, but I was. I just thought, I'm going to get back to my other stuff. And seriously, as I was about to give up, I took a walk with my husband Will in Pennsylvania in the woods where we used to have a cabin, and I saw a treehouse. And then the next thing I knew, the idea of a magic treehouse kind of took root. And that night, we sat up half the night, and we decided maybe if it's filled with books and you make a wish. But from then on, it literally took off. I had my device to get kids through time.
And it becomes such a huge success that, of course, it attracts all this money, just like Web 2.0 did, which creates another bubble, which creates another crash. But after the crash, having learned the lesson, they go on making, and they end up getting sued by big companies and fighting these legal battles and creating these new kinds of organizations and fighting pitched battles in the street and eventually prevailing.
Your books are very timely. Little Brother with the Homeland Security and Makers with the economy is really collapsing. I live in Arizona, and I can tell you it's really hurting here too.
Well, it's funny because I had no idea the economy would collapse when the book came out. It was really about the last economic collapse, not this.
Oh, really?
I guess I just got lucky.
Yeah.
When I finished writing the Glasswrite series, I wrote the darkest, most depressing, most horribly grim fantasy novel that has ever been written in the history of fantasy novels. And ultimately, every publisher in the United States said, this is too dark and too grim and too depressing, and thank you very much. So after having spent a year with that unsuccessful venture, I was ready to again change gears and to try something completely the opposite of what I had written. And I wrote up a quick little proposal. It ended up being 3 paragraphs long that started with Jane Madison has a problem, or 2, or 3. And it was the outline of a story about a librarian who discovers that she's a witch.
I couldn't help but notice some correlation. You have the 7th tower, you have 7 days, 7 keys, 7 virtues, 7 sins.
I get emails often saying, what's with this 7 business, I always say to people, one of the things to find out my fascination with the number 7 and 9 actually is to have a look at Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable, and you'll see that both those numbers resonate very strongly because they are so deeply connected with different myths and legends. And that's just, I guess, one of the techniques that I use. Some numbers just trigger something in our minds, make them seem more important than they are.